Well, I am so excited to have today with me Betsy, and who has had a child on program in the last few years. And it's so great to see kind of like where she was and then where she is now. And so, Betsy, I just wanted to thank you for coming.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here. So happy to see you again and just celebrate just what we've experienced from the program. Yeah.
That's so great. Well, can you catch everybody else up with like some of the challenges you were having when you saw them? What kind of how maybe it was affecting your family?
Yeah, well, my daughter Audrey is the one that went through the program, and she's my third child. And so my oldest learned to read in public school, and then we started homeschooling, and my second child learned to read in preschool, like no effort. And so I thought, hey, I finally get a chance to teach a child to read myself. I was so excited. Um, and so we started on the 100 easy lessons to read or whatever, and they were not easy. And we'd make it to maybe 20, and I would realize we are not making any progress. Let's just start over, try again. And we maybe started over 15 times. I don't think we ever made it through all 100. And I mean, it just led to me helping her a lot with all of her work, realizing that she was going to need extra help and attention. And it was something that, through life circumstances, I didn't get any help at that point. But as I started looking into college options for my second daughter, the thought in the back of my mind was, I can't be helping Audrey for the rest of her life. I want her to be able to go to college or have options like other students. And so I started looking into accommodations that the college my daughter was interested in. They like what kind of things did they offer? And you need to have a diagnosis or some kind of something that says that you qualify for these accommodations. And I didn't have anything like that, just what I understood from teaching her. And so as I started looking into getting something like that, that's when I ran across Dr. Jan and just the encouragement of, do I want to get accommodations or would I like healing? And my mother's heart says, I know what she's capable of. I see so much in my daughter. I wanted the best for her. And so I was thinking, I'm willing to try this. There's still options for accommodations if it doesn't work, I guess. But yeah, I talked to my daughter and she was definitely more on the side of, if there's something that can help me straighten some of what's going on in my mind out, I would love that.
Yeah, just making life and learning easier. So what I remember is that she was doing some online things when we started, and you were kind of having to be right there with her.
Oh
That
yeah, we were a part of a homeschool group that met once a week, and so we had all these work assignments that I did all of them with her. She couldn't write very well, like writing took a lot of energy and effort. Math took forever if I didn't help, like I was the accommodation, if I didn't help move it along or help rephrase it in a way that she could understand it or read it. We did a lot of books on Audible. Listening was so much easier than actually like reading with her eyes and comprehending. So she had a lot of the skills, but not the ability to do them on her own. Um, so yeah, I was doing basically all of her work with her.
and this was when she was what age?
Like 15. Like she maybe started reading a little bit more independently around 12 or 13, but definitely not at the level of the content that was required for the material that we were supposed to be, studying. So,
Yeah. So some people have really like doubts about themselves, especially if they're homeschooling and these kinds of things happen, like doubts of how can I help my child academically, emotionally, behaviorally. How were you feeling at the time?
yeah, well, I think I personally had a lot of my sister had passed away. I had 5 extra kids come into my house at the time, and so it was more of a like I just didn't feel like there was enough of me to go around. Like I wasn't enough. I couldn't give her enough of my attention to meet the needs that she had because she had some really big needs. But my energy and my whatever, I was just drained. And so
Right.
um so I wanted more for her, but I just didn't know how to give it to her.
Sure, sure. So what did you like best about the Brain Sprints program?
Well, I mean, you personally. We walked in and there was this breath of fresh air and this just, you're so kind and just this sense of hope that there was, like you saw so many things in my daughter that I saw that were just not visible to the average person. So there was a lot of comfort in that. But then, like, there was a lot of, I mean, it is therapy. It is difficult, even though the things that you're asked to do are not hard. It's kind of like one of those like crazy things in your mind of like crawling on the floor is not hard, but crawling on the floor consistently for 3 months is very humbling. Like there
Yeah.
was just a lot of pieces of that, but I saw this like for my daughter, I saw this like anchoring to the Lord in that time that I just feel like was so valuable for her because it required a lot of faith to believe that these simple little things could produce something lovely, you know? And so
Yeah.
operating in things that really like wearing the eye patch or wearing the earplug and having people ask, what's that in your ear? Like there's a lot of humbling things. But it created this kind of like stalwart faith in her, like this. And I saw her leaning into the Lord in all of it. And that really was just such a beautiful thing because as she progressed, she was seeing results. She was feeling them more than she could articulate them.
Mm.
Um, but it required just like that consistency and tenacity to
Yeah.
keep doing it, even when you felt like, is spinning on a chair ever going to get me anywhere? You know?
So some of the things that Betsy's mentioning as specifics, one of the things that's different about the neurodevelopmental approach is we look at the whole child instead of just academically, what's where the failures, are the eyes working well? What do we do to help the eyes work better? Is this auditory information being stored in the wrong place? How do we stimulate the brain so that it stores it in the right place so there's access? So every program is a little different, but it is almost like that story of Naaman, of dipping yourself in the dirty Jordan 7 times, and what's that going to do for you? But doing these things daily builds those pathways so that things are available. Your brain is more on a superhighway than bumping down the dirt road. So a lot of these kids, and especially Audrey, she was a race car ready to go. She just needed a road to run on, and that's what we did. I remember vividly her tenacity, and I'm hoping we're going to still get to talk to her today. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I haven't told her that, but I can
Okay.
get her in here.
Okay, so I just have not seen a teen with the kind of tenacity that Audrey really displayed. She was like you said, she took it as a way of faith and believing that I was telling her, the right things to do to build those pathways. And I asked her at one point because I saw so much progress in such a short time. I mean, I think the most I've ever seen.
Mm.
And I asked her what motivated her to do all the things. She said, I just thought if I do it really good, I won't have to do it as long. And it was really true. That is what happened. She graduated faster than anybody else that I've ever worked with, especially a teen. Sometimes the teens, they just get this idea of how could this ever, they get in their head
Mhm.
and they rationalize and they just negate what could be. So I was just so very proud of her. And so tell us a little bit about after doing program, how was she with her academics after that?
Yeah, we did the program during her like sophomore year, and I really scaled down a lot of her regular work that we were supposed to be doing for our homeschool group and focused mostly on brain sprints so that we could, like with the hope that it would all come back, right? And I I'm so thankful that we did it that way because her junior and senior year, she worked pretty much completely independently from me, which
Wow.
I almost didn't know what to do with myself because I was like, I have all this free time. And like, not just that she worked independently, but she worked with such excellence. And like, the drive was in her. I was no longer driving the cart, but it was like, I want to learn Hebrew. And so she's been teaching herself Hebrew, like a language that I can't barely even wrap my mind around because
Oh my
like she's
goodness.
learning to read this language that goes the opposite direction and with these weird sounds, and she loves the minutia of it. Like
My
I,
goodness.
I mean, it's just so night and day different from what she was at, but the capacity was there, and
Mhm.
brain sprints just unlocked that capacity, like gave her access to all that she already had, but like she just couldn't get it all together.
Yes. I
So,
often
yeah.
see the kids that think maybe they're not very smart
Hmm.
because they have so many struggles. I don't know if that was Audrey's case or not.
Well, she had compared herself a lot to her brother or sister, where things came a lot easier for them. And so she felt like, well, I'm just not that, I don't know. But I mean, she she comes up with some of the deepest ideas, and
Hmm.
it's just really beautiful to see her stepping up and seeing herself as somebody that has the mind of Christ and can think these great thoughts because of how he's designed her to think. So,
Well, that I often say that what this does is it helps open the child's full potential. When you get those pathways going in the brain, like superhighways, instead of like bumping down the road, then the world just opens up to them. So that is so exciting. What would you say to other moms that have children that are struggling?
hmm. For moms that have children that are struggling, I feel like a lot of times we feel a lot of guilt or shame in the journey or the timing in which we get help, or we feel guilty for not having noticed earlier or helped them earlier. And I really just feel like the Lord's timing is perfect in all the things. I mean, just like with Audrey, took me from 4 to 15 to like realize that I needed something more than what I could, I needed help beyond what I could offer. And and the Lord accelerated that plan for her. Not that every plan needs to be accelerated, because fast is not always the best, right? Sometimes the journey just needs to take a
True,
little bit
true.
longer, and that's okay. And so just the heart that the Lord has given you for your children, or the love that you have for your children, is just such a valuable thing. And um and going through a program like this, even if it's hard or even when it's hard, you having that further vision for them and how you see them and how you love them is so like essential for helping them reach their capacity, because you've carried them in your heart and you continue to carry them, and seeing beyond where they are at, I don't know, just it just feels like such a
Praise
such
the
a gift.
Lord. So you just bring up a really good point that oftentimes families are saying, why didn't I know about this before? And again, I think it is God's timing, and we can't beat ourselves up. We can just go from where we are onwards. And I think that it's not that you didn't maybe feel like you needed some help. You just didn't know where any help was. That's the
Mhm.
whole thing. So that's why we're really trying to get the word out about brain sprints and what it can do for children that are have labels like dyslexia.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, Audrey may have been labeled dyslexic if you had taken her somewhere, but most people don't want to label. And that's one thing, we don't really label um, kids. We just find out why there's some inefficiencies going on in their brain that cause those symptoms. So it's so great that you've gotten help, and I just am so privileged to be part of Audrey's journey. Thanks for being with
Yes,
us.
absolutely. Thank you so much.